Oh, that was a doozy, Dub Nation. The Warriors, after a very slow start, erupt. And it's led by Mr. Stephen Curry, who had himself a career night. 56 points for Steph, 12 made three-pointers. A stalled first-half offense was kept alive by this man. And then the third quarter eruption was exactly how I'm describing it. It was incredible. Let's break it down, Dub Nation. The Warriors have now won 7 of 8 in the Jimmy Butler era. They start this 5-game road trip with a beautiful start over the Orlando Magic. Let's break it all down. Dub Nation, these Warriors are real. Let's have ourselves a good night. It's Thursday night. Tomorrow's Friday. You're almost there. And this is the Golden Day.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Oh, the Magic Bingo. It's special for the Golden State Warriors. Welcome to Golden Days. I'm your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild. You can follow me on Twitter at Surf Journalist. The program is on both those platforms at Golden Days Pod. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, before we talk about a phenomenal game by Mr. Wardell Stephen Curry, 56 points for Steph. He's still 36. He turns 37 in 2 weeks. But for a 36-year-old, god damn, that was an incredible performance. I believe he's the oldest player in NBA history to notch 2 games in a regular season where he has 20 or more points in a quarter. In tonight's instance, that third quarter was more specifically where he lit it up. And again, the Warriors looked a little slow in this game. They looked outmatched in terms of size. The Magic are a big team. Paolo Banchero looked like a three-point marksman for at least a half of basketball, but Steph was like, no. We're not going to start this road trip with a loss to a team like the Orlando Magic. The vibes are going too good right now. We're going to kick us some ass here, and that's what they did. And we're going to break it down in just a moment. Yes, Dino Manrique, Stephen Curry, if you want to call him the GOAT, I'll support you in that. Let's give some love to our sponsors first and foremost, though. Up initially, right off the bat, is a great sponsor, and that's Visit Humboldt. Folks, over half of our audience is in the San Francisco Bay Area, and a lot of you probably are wondering, what do we want to do for fun? What's a good place to go for a vacation? I called Arcata, California home for 2 years. That's where Humboldt State University, now called Cal Poly, is located. It's paradise. Even though I only spent 2 years going to school there, ever since I left over 20 years ago, I've made it a mission to always make at least one trip back to my old stomping grounds because of how beautiful it is, because of, I mean, where else in California or even the world for that matter can you surround yourself with the enchantment of a redwood forest, a redwood and sequoia forest, national parks, state parks, beaches with redwood forests lining them. You got the Lost Coast and hikes on the coast. It's stunning. And it's only a 3 to 4 hour drive, depending on where you live. It's beautiful. It's right in our backyard. If you call yourself a Californian, go check out Humboldt County, my former home. DM me if you want any advice in terms of where to go and what to do, or check out the website, visithumboldt.com for more information. Again, visit Humboldt.com. That gives you all the hotels, that gives you things to do. Your info is right there. And again, DM me and I'll totally take care of you myself if we need it. Visit Humboldt. Go check them out today. Tonight's episode brought to you by, and it saddens me to say this because it's the last time I'm going to be saying it for at least the immediate future, Dr. Tom Rosanelli. Yes, folks, the sponsorship ends after tonight. I want to thank the good doctor, though. He gave it a try. And what the good doctor really wanted, and it's not too late if you're interested, was phone calls. I tried to explain to Dr. Tom Rosanelli that people are not using their phones much these days, but He's relying on calls, folks, and he is still sponsoring us at least for 2 more days. So reach out, call 415-931-9881. Again, 415-931-9881 for your hair restoration needs. He uses all of the latest technology that most other doctors are not using. His clientele includes pro athletes, professional broadcasters, artists, you name it. And when it comes at least to the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond, Dr. Rosanelli has taken care of incredible clientele. Go check out the website, rosanelli.com. And if you mention Rick Barry, his former patient, you will get a $500 discount to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Warriors winning the 75 championship. Rick Barry getting the finals MVP that season. Dr. Rosanelli took care of him, and he can take care of you. And you never know. He might decide if he suddenly gets a lot of phone calls that he wants to come back. But if not, thank you, doctor, for sponsoring your program. Sorry we couldn't drive the phone calls to you. But again, if you're watching this and you want to call the good doctor, 415-931-9881. So you could look like the new LeBron James and not the old LeBron James. And last but not least, BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform. The Warriors have been covering the spread. Larry Krueger was on our show 2 nights ago. We did a broadcast after that Hornets blowout. And Larry told me that he's been killing it betting on the Warriors. I don't know what the line was tonight. Let me actually pull that up real fast to see if that spread is actually, you know what? It's not going to be there. I don't know what the spread was. Whatever it was, the Warriors won tonight by final score of 121-115. So if someone in the audience bet on this game, let me know if you were a winner or a loser, because I did not track the spread, but you can be a winner too. You can make money off the Golden State Warriors. Go check out BetOnline. The game starts here. And Traveling Urquidez, a Golden Dazer. Thank you for saying that, telling me that I was right, that this team has a shot. I wholeheartedly agree. This was a night where Jonathan Kuminga was missed, at least in the first half. The first half was not friendly for the Golden State Warriors in this one. It looked a little sketchy at times there. Again, the Warriors were outscored in the opening quarter of this game, 34-23. They trailed by 14 at the half. Would have been 17 if not for Stephen Curry hitting a 70-footer at the halftime buzzer. It was huge. Our intern Megan Lee is helping behind the scenes tonight, and I asked her to pull up some data for me. This was Stephen Curry's third. It was the third time in Stephen Curry's career where he's made 12 three-pointers. That's what he hit tonight. He had 12 of them. This was the 14th career 50-point game for Stephen Curry, who finished with 56. This was, and again, that stat courtesy of NBC Sports Bay Area. This was the third time that Stephen Curry has made 12 or more threes in a game, and that's tied with Klay Thompson. I don't know what he's tied with for the most ever. Megan, if you don't mind elaborating on that stat. But again, the point is, Stephen Curry had himself a game tonight. And again, his third quarter theatrics were a huge reason they came back. But again, the momentum for the Magic stalled with that 70-footer. Side note, I saw the NBA list Stephen Curry's three as a 49-footer. Besides the fact that the officiating continues to be abysmal, there was a play in this game, for example, I think it was in the third quarter, maybe it was early fourth, where Steph brought the ball up the court, crossed half court. He got pushed. Wasn't even like close. It was blatant. The broadcasters thankfully called it out. I recorded the video and posted it on both of my social media accounts where Steph got pushed over the half court line, and these moronic officials called it a backcourt. And I think Cole Anthony was the one who shoved him. That thought just came into my head because despite even more egregious officiating, Stephen Curry had himself a hell of a night. Again, the Warriors were struggling early in this game. The first quarter was a borderline nightmare. Orlando in that first quarter, again, they led 34-23, was shooting 66.7% from deep. The Orlando is the second worst three-point shooting team in the entire NBA. If I have my math right, they might actually be the worst. I thought I heard Someone say it's the second worst, but I believe, and Megan, if you don't mind double checking that stat, Orlando is not a typical 3-point shooting team, but tonight they were lighting it up. Again, in the first quarter, 4 of 6 shooting from deep. Paolo Banchero, who's not notoriously known for his 3-point shooting, was raining 3-pointers in this one. In the second quarter, where the Magic also won that quarter, 32-29. Again, they went into the half with a 14-point lead. Paolo Banchero was 3 of 5 shooting from deep in the second quarter. And again, at the end of the first half, the Warriors are trailing this one 66-52. Without that 70-footer by Steph, again, NBA, it was not 49 feet. That's what they measured it. Get your glasses out, use a proper measuring tool so you can double check that stat and confirm that it was closer to 70 feet. It is egregious calling that a 49-footer. Stephen Curry hit a 70-foot 3-point shot at the buzzer to end the first half. That stemmed Orlando's momentum. And instead of a 17-point lead at the half, it was a 14-point lead at the half. And that was huge. Whereas the Magic were just running roughshod all over the Warriors. And a lot of that had to do with the Warriors starting small. And this is where I don't know what the plan is for Kuminga when he comes back. I don't know if he's going to be starting. I don't know if he's going to go back to the role he had before he got injured, where he wasn't even like a 6th man. He was like an 8th man, but he was playing 30-plus minutes. He was closing games for him. Whatever it is, the Warriors' small ball approach tonight did not work because Orlando is a damn big team. Paolo Banchero is a center on most NBA squads. On this Orlando team, he's a power forward. Wendell Carter Jr. is their center. Franz Wagner, who would be a 4 on most teams, is this team's small forward, but that's also a huge reason why this team is one of the worst in the NBA in 3-point shooting. Again, off memory, I can't remember if they're the worst or the second worst 3-point shooting team. Megan Lee, our intern, saying that Orlando this season is shooting 30% from 3. But again, I don't know, is that the worst in the NBA or the second worst? Regardless, it's one of the two. I know that. And a huge reason for Orlando not being a legitimate threat from the 3-point line is because of these big lineups they roll out there. And that did cause the Warriors problems early. Stephen Curry was literally the only thing keeping this team afloat in the first half, whereas the rest of the team was struggling through the first 24 minutes. The team's second highest scorer at the half. Again, they were trailing at the half 66-52. Brandon Podziemski was the second leading scorer for the Warriors, and he had 6 points. 6. That was your second leading scorer at the half. Stephen Curry was the only reason why they stayed in this game before he went off in the third quarter. At the end of the first half, Stephen Curry scored nearly half of the team's total points. He had 21 of the Warriors' 52 points. At the end of the first half, he was shooting 7 of 11 from the field. He was 5 of 7 from deep. He had 1 trip to the free throw line, made both his free throws because that's what the NBA's greatest free throw shooter ever, not being hyperbolic saying that, Steph is the all-time leader in free throw shooting. He was a perfect 2 of 2 from there, even had 2 assists and a rebound. So his 21 points kept the Warriors afloat through one half of play. Then the third quarter came. And in that third quarter, Maron. These are Stephen Curry's numbers in the third quarter. Oh, the chat's on fire tonight. I love it. Steph in quarter 3 was 4 of 6 shooting from deep, was 6 of 8 shooting from the field, which means that his 2 non-3-point shots went in. He was 6 of 6 from the free throw line. I think at least one of those was a technical as well. He was a plus 23 in net rating in quarter 3, and he had 22 points in that third quarter. Again, the oldest player in NBA history to have 2 quarters in an NBA season where he scores 20 or more points. No other player has ever done that, ever, in the history of this beautiful game. But it wasn't just Steph lighting it up, and I'm going to read his whole stat line to you in just a second, because Steve Kerr, I'm going to give him credit where credit's due. He did make an adjustment at halftime, which was a game changer. He decided, instead of rolling back out the small lineup, which was getting eviscerated by the Orlando Magic. He made a very subtle adjustment to start the second half. He brought Quinton Post in. And boy, did Quinton Post reward Stephen Curry for that decision. Amazing what happens when you bring big players out there, right? Quinton Post in quarter 3 had 10 points. He was 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. Side note, he was wide open for those 3-pointers because that's what teams do. They suffocate Steph, and which is side note is it makes his production tonight all the more remarkable. But when you have that stretch 5 and Quinton Post on the floor with him, teams don't know what to do. Jimmy Butler had a weird night statistically, but he was a major facilitator. He wasn't shooting the ball much, and he got hit early in the game, either on his neck or his head. You saw him constantly rubbing the neck and head area. I don't know if that impacted his shot as a whole, but Jimmy Butler was not putting up points. This was almost entirely on Steph. Quinton Post thankfully has that red-hot third quarter, and Steph just took care of the rest. His final stat line, and Stephen Curry, yes, is, without question, your Underdog Fantasy Player of the Game. I'm going to roll Underdog now as a sponsor for this segment, so I'm not front-loading the show with like a million commercials. Thank you to Underdog Fantasy for being a sponsor of this program. If you use the promo code GSW, you'll get a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And our Underdog Fantasy Player of the Game tonight, for insanely obvious reasons, Wardell Stephen Curry, who finished the night with 56 points. Megan, if you could do me a favor, can you look up where this ranks in Stephen Curry's all-time scoring outputs? I think his career high is 62. I don't know if this was the second highest. This is one of the downsides to me starting shows right after a game. I don't get a chance to do a ton of research, but this is also where we have amazing interns helping us out. So Megan's going to look that up real fast. I believe this was Stephen Curry's second highest scoring total in his entire career. Could be wrong on that. Again, I got my crack staff working on that right now, but 56 points, 12 of 19 shooting from deep. The 12 3-pointers made the second highest in Stephen Curry's total, 2 behind Klay Thompson, who still holds the record for most threes made in a single game. But Steph was 12 of 19 from deep, 16 of 25 from the field, a perfect 12 of 12 shooting from beyond the free throw line. He added 4 rebounds in this game. He added 3 assists in this game. He added 2 steals in this game. He was a plus 15 in terms of net rating. Only one player was better. His name was Quinton Post. Quinton Post was a plus 22 in terms of net rating, but Stephen Curry, 56 points on the night, again, which ranks up there among his career highs. Again, I believe 62 is the official career high, and I believe 56 is the second high. Megan's telling me the first one was 62. I know that already. I said that. I'm looking. What is the all-time rankings? Where does 56 rank, Megan, in terms of the all-time rankings? That's what I'm looking for. If you can get back to me on that, we'll get that information soon. Unless someone in the chat maybe beats my intern to it. Let me see here. The chat's on fire tonight. I'm going to get to everyone. I promise. I will post the link soon so we can welcome some other voices and opinions on this program. Abraham D. Leon bringing up that the 62, that is the career high for Stephen Curry, was scored against Portland. Eddie 757 adding that Steph has 3 higher scoring games. And Megan, are you confirming this as well? Yeah, Megan says 56 is the third. So that's the third highest. Megan, give me lots of information when you're writing to me, okay? I want lists. I want a lot of data. So Stephen Curry's career high was 62. According to Eddie757 in the chat, his second highest scoring output ever was 60. And according to a chat member, 57 was the third highest. My intern is now saying 56 was the third highest. See, I'm confused. I need some answers here. It's all right. This is Megan's first time as our intern, so she's going to get the hang of this, I promise. But regardless, Stephen Curry, so among his career highs, it was the 56-point output tonight. It's either his third or fourth highest. I'm waiting to get some confirmation on that in just a minute, but incredible. And Stephen Curry, at 36 years of age, turns 37 on March 14th. He is our Underdog Fantasy Player of the Game for his 56-point output, which almost single-handedly carried the Golden State Warriors and resulted in victory. And when you consider the fact that the Warriors won this game by only 6 points, yeah, I think it's a safe assumption to make there that without Stephen Curry, the Warriors are screwed tonight. Marcus Cintron, is that correct? In the chat, adding that Steph scored a 60 in his career against the Atlanta Hawks. That was in a loss, I believe. He had 57 against Dallas in a loss, and then he scored 62 against Portland. So Stephen Curry's 56, at least according to chat members, ranking as the 4th highest of his career. Nathan J. Shaw Jr. in the chat, adding that Steph has career marks of 62, 60, 57, and 56. So intern Megan, I'm waiting to get some information from you. And again, I asked Megan behind the scenes beforehand, when you're doing research on stats, mention where you're getting that information from so that when you write down the Stephen Curry, his 56 is the 3rd highest of his career, which people in the chat are saying is not, is actually 4th. Tell me where you're getting your information from so I could put them on the spotlight and they could be wrong and not you. But regardless, Stephen Curry, phenomenal performance tonight in a win for the Golden State Warriors. Quentin Post, who, if we're ranking the players of the game, I would say is our runner-up tonight. Again, 18 points. Those third quarter minutes and production were pivotal. His final stat line, he led the team in net rating tonight in his 24 minutes, 9 minutes of play, a plus 22 for Mr. Quentin Post. If you sat here in the chat tonight, or if you come on the show in a little bit as part of the live audience, and you try to persuade me that Quentin Post should be starting games, I'm not going to argue with you. He's phenomenal. And again, the consistency is not there yet. He is a rookie, and that's part of the package when you're having a player that young playing significant minutes for you. But 18 points on this night. He was 7 of 9 shooting from the field, 2 3-pointers made out of 4 attempts. So he had 50% of his 3-pointers. Quentin Post went to the line once, made both his free throws, had 5 rebounds in this game, had 1 assist, had 1 steal, had 1 block, 18 points, 5 rebounds, a plus 22 net rating on 50% shooting from 3. That is a hell of a stat line for Mr. Quentin Post. Bravo to you, rookie. You are doing a marvelous job. In case you're wondering about Trayce Jackson-Davis, I know a few people have asked about him. He's been getting a lot of DNPs lately, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is he's just out of the rotation right now. Kevon Looney has leapt ahead of him in terms of the center rotation. This team has 3 centers now, and Looney's getting the minutes for the backup center. So Trayce Jackson-Davis, it's not, and I'm not sitting here justifying it. I'm not sitting here making an argument that what Steve Kerr is doing with Trayce Jackson-Davis is justified. But I'm also a results-driven individual. The Warriors have won 7 of 8. And with Quentin Post playing like this, there just is not room right now for Trayce Jackson-Davis. So he's been battling an illness. He was ready to go tonight. But again, the DNP is coming largely because he is just not earning the minutes as part of the rotation. So we shall see if that'll change. Kevon Looney at one point this season was not a part of the rotation either. So we'll see if those things change around. But Jimmy Butler, again, I don't know if him getting hit in the neck or the head. We'll play some sound from Orlando if it comes down, and maybe someone else has some answers pertaining to Jimmy Butler. And statistically, this was the worst game of his career. No doubt. He only had 5 points in this game. He also only had 7 field goal attempts, and he only made 1 of them. He also had 3 3-point attempts, and those were way off. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Butler's only made 1 3-pointer in his entire career with the Golden State Warriors. So, 3-point shooting may or may not be Jimmy's thing. I think in his career, the numbers have never really been strong. He's one of those guys who, when the pressure's up and the moment is tense and times are tight, for whatever reason, Jimmy thrives in moments like that, in situations like that. And that's when the threes fall. That's 3-point shooting is just not his game. So Jimmy tonight, again, I don't know if he was hurt. I don't know if he just had an off night, but 5 points for him, did have 7 assists. He was definitely facilitating out there a little too much. There were a few moments in this game tonight where Jimmy had the opportunity for easy buckets and instead look for other players on the team. So 5 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds for Jimmy Butler. Also had 2 blocks in this game, was a -7 in net rating, 1 of 7 shooting from the field, 0 of 3 from deep. Did have 4 free throw attempts, made 3 of 4 from the free throw line. But Jimmy Butler, again, an off night for him. And I don't know if the injury had anything to do with it, but JB in the chat adding that Butler did get to the line in pivotal moments, and timing is a huge variable when it comes to any basketball game. And Jimmy Butler was solid in that regard, saying that the free throw shooting led by Jimmy Butler got contagious, meaning Butler getting to the line started resulting in other players getting to the line. And it's been awesome. Yeah. So, and Baby Cakes bringing up a very good point, which is that Jimmy could get hurt if he continues playing heavy minutes at the power forward position. And again, this is where I'm not a huge fan of Draymond being your starting 5, largely because my focus when it comes to covering this team is the postseason and staying fresh and ready for that. And I understand certain matchups call for Dre at the 5, Jimmy at the 4, but this Orlando team is not it. And the good news is, again, Kerr made that halftime adjustment, which was huge. But I do wish he didn't start the game with such a small starting lineup versus a massively bigger team in the Orlando Magic. Yeah, and I agree with the sentiment from Ren Kuno in the chat, who says that before the trade, the Warriors would have dropped this type of game. Huge difference. You're 100% right. This is a different feel. This is a different mojo that's going on with the Golden State Warriors. Blazy Marego is asking, when is Jonathan Kuminga coming back? Nobody knows. The gatekeeper for Jonathan Kuminga's minutes has been Rick Celebrini, who's the head of the Golden State Warriors medical department. He oversees everything with the players and injury management. He is not greenlighting Kuminga. That he's literally the single reason why Kuminga is not on the court yet is Rick Celebrini doesn't think he's ready. And the reason for that could be conditioning. Maybe Celebrini thinks Kuminga is not in game shape yet. Maybe he thinks the ankle's still too tender and it's not healed yet. I don't know. But Chris Mullen in the chat, no relation to the Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer, right? Yeah. He also has his number retired by the Warriors. Different Chris Mullen. This one has an E in the last name, saying that Kerr plays too many 3-guard lineups. I do agree with you there. In the first half, I particularly noticed Gary Payton II getting more minutes than I thought he should have. On a night like this where your team is struggling offensively, I didn't think GP2 was the answer on that front. But Kerr was rolling with them a lot early in this game. In the first half, particularly, the stat line for GP2, one of those guards. GP2 played 10 minutes in that first half. And again, he had 4 points out of the team's 52. That was one thing I was looking at. Maybe the player I should be highlighting and talking about is not GP2, though, in terms of a negative aspect. It's Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield, when Jonathan Kuminga comes back, Buddy Hield, it's just, he's not, we've criticized him plenty on this show, and his minutes are where I just look at and think to myself, why? It doesn't make a lot of sense other than the spacing he provides. He has Steve Kerr's trust, played 17 minutes, 36 seconds tonight, had 1 made 3-pointer, which is better than nothing. That made 3 was the only points of the game for Buddy Hield. So yeah, I do hope those minutes get tempered, especially when Kuminga comes back, because I don't want Kuminga eating into Guy Santos's minutes. I don't want Kuminga eating into Quidden Post minutes. If anyone's minutes are going to be affected here, I beg, please make it Buddy Hield's, because he is not doing good. And Greg Gordon, it brings up that he was a plus 13. Anomalies happen with net rating. And that's where net rating is one of those stats that, it's a nice accenture on top of a box score, right? It's nice to throw in a really good net rating, or maybe it's really bad if you're piling on someone. But there's also instances where net rating represents an anomaly. And Buddy Hield's plus 13 tonight. He don't look like he played okay D at times. He made timely passes at times, but he's one of 5 dudes. And on a night like this, from what I saw, Buddy was just out there at the right time for a lot of those minutes to get a net rating like that. But I saw that as more of being an anomaly. Brandon Pajemski had a rough shooting night tonight, was clutch in a lot of her other instances, like, for example, defending players like Ben Kettle, defending players like Franz Wagner. Like Pajemski was stepping up in moments like that. The shot was hit or miss. He was 3 of 12 from the field. That is not good. That's what, 25%. You don't want to, or maybe even less than that. Your point is that's not a good field goal percentage. You don't want to post a stat like that on a routine basis. He was 2 of 6 from deep, so he hit 33% of his threes. That's good. You can live with that. Had 7 assists in this game, had 4 rebounds, only had 8 points, did have 2 blocks on the night and a turnover. So Pajemski had a meh night. The points were definitely not here. We're not there for Pajemski. I also want to add, in terms of who we're going to talk about, and I'll post the link now in the chat if anyone wants to join us real quick. So StatMuse says that according to intern Megan, that this was Stephen Curry's 4th highest point total of his career. So piggybacking off what others in the chat said earlier, 62, 60, 57, and tonight's 56 marks the 4th highest scoring total of Stephen Curry's career at the age of 36. Bravo to Steph, still doing it at this age. Thank you very much, Megan. And our intern adding that this was the highest scoring game, courtesy of the Mercury News, for Stephen Curry since he scored 60 points last February, a year ago in Atlanta. He's had 3 50-point games since turning 35. That is the most all time. Those are some great numbers, Megan. Thank you very much for that. So Stephen Curry had himself a night, and the Warriors are having themselves a hell of a stretch since Jimmy Butler got here. I'm going to post a link to the chat. If anybody wants to join the party tonight, it is Thursday night, so we're almost there for the weekend, folks. And if you want to come on and you have anything you want to gripe about, if there's anything you want to be giddy about, the door is now open. Draymond Green, I thought, had a terrific night in terms of just being active offensively. There are a lot of possessions where defenses, Orlando included, dare Draymond Green to beat them. And that is not a strategy that is going to work. This is why I feel like this Warriors team is giving a lot of championship vibes, because in every year that the Warriors were at their pinnacle, this is what defenses did to the Warriors. They had no choice but to dare Draymond Green to beat you. And Draymond relishes those opportunities. A, because he's actually a pretty good offensive player, much better than the stats indicate. And B, he's going to make you pay for that. He is like, you are not like, if your strategy to beat the Warriors is, we're going to do our best to defend the other 4 players on the court, and we're going to live and die with Draymond, you're going to die every time. And that is where other teams are with the Golden State Warriors. We're seeing this version of opposing defenses again, where they're looking at the Warriors and they're thinking to themselves, oh shit, what do we do here? Steph is on a heater. Now they got Jimmy Butler, who could just erupt himself at any time. You've got guys like Pajemski, like Moses Moody. Moses Moody, by the way, had a cold start to this game. A huge reason why the Warriors were even in the deficit they were in the first quarter was because Moody was not hitting his shots. In quarter one, for example, opening quarter of this game, Moses Moody was 0 of 3 from deep, 0 of 3 from the field, but he did get fouled on a 3-point attempt, and so he had 3 free throw attempts as a result, made all 3 of them, but he had 3 first quarter points, and again, the shot was not falling. But as an example of Moses Moody's maturity, his progress as an individual basketball player, he finished the game with 10 points. He continued hustling out there. 7 of his 10 points came from the free throw line. You're seeing more and more that 7'2" wingspan and the havoc it causes defensively. So Moses Moody, despite that very slow start, did thankfully make a 3 later on after the 0-3 start from deep. He had 2 more 3-point attempts, made 1 of those, thankfully. 10 points for Moses Moody. Bravo. I thought Moody after a bad start, played some great ball. My point is, again, the Warriors offense is at this level now where opposing defenses are freaking the F out. That's exactly what you want. You don't want defenses to feel comfortable. You don't want them having a strategy and sticking to it. Hell no. You want them to be panicked. You want them to be scattered. You want them to be lost. And again, when teams are looking around, when their head is on a swivel and they're deciding, you know what, Draymond, we're going to give you space because we don't know what else to do. Draymond Green will eat that space up and punish you for it. And we're seeing that again. That is the biggest sign, at least to me, that the Warriors are back. Let's go to Julian, who's going to join us on the program Thursday night.
How are you,
brother?
I'm good. How about yourself?
All right, man. Floor is yours.
I was going to ask you, have you ever played NBA 2K?
Many years ago, dude. Unfortunately, I'm not that guy, man. I love video games. I do. I love video games, but when I was a kid, when I say kid, like in my teens and 20s, yes, like Madden football was my easily my go-to game, but NBA 2K absolutely. But nowadays it's like GTA and I don't. Well, why do you bring that up, man?
Well, the reason why I ask, because I haven't played since NBA 2K16. The reason why I bring it up is because I think a lot of people are struggling to understand what Jimmy Butler brings to this team. So if you ever played NBA 2K, I know it's a video game, but it's just an analogy. There's something called badges. And superstars have certain badges that make the teammates better. So you can have an 85 ranking and another 85 ranking, but there'll be badges that on defense make everyone around them, their ratings go up, make their free throws go up. In clutch time, make their clutch shots go up. And so I bring it up because look at the difference of this team. Even when he scores 5 points, you see we're 27 of 30. So not only are we getting to the line, we're making the free throw. So somehow he's emanating something that is giving, that soft touch, whatever it may be. Kevon Looney's making free throws. Draymond Green's making free throws. People that you expect to go 1 out of 2. And that's something I want to talk about as far as just not like people say, oh, is he worth 55 million or 60 million? I'm saying, 7-1, the results are there. 2 NBA finals dragging that Heat team is not good. Bam Adebayo, however you say his name, he's a subpar B-level all-star. Tyler Hero barely made it, and they're 2-5 with Wiggins barely winning yesterday. And so that's what I got to say. So I'm just like, I hope people really see the impact that he's bringing. Here's another thing. We're talking about Curry. Since Butler came, 2 quarters of 20-plus points. And before Kendrick Perkins, I know we love Steph Curry, but he actually made a good point before Butler came to the team. He said Steph Curry shouldn't be an all-star because he was averaging 22 points per game. We're barely a 500 team. We're in the playoffs. But now Butler's here. He's looking like a top 5 point guard again, averaging over 30 points. So your thoughts, Si?
Well, here's the thing. Those Perkin comments I've touched on a little bit. It was dumb, clearly. The only reason why I haven't pounced on Perkins more for that is because before those comments, he also was one of the only media members out there repeatedly advocating for the Warriors to do something to help Steph. He kept saying that Steph was the only superstar in the game who did not have a Robin, who did not have a second star to relieve the pressure on nights where teams are like triple teaming him. He was the only voice out there, at least in legacy media, mainstream media, who was fighting for Steph. And then he made that dumbass comment, and I brought it up.
I agree with him. I'm just bringing up the point that he was like even yourself. We were talking about his knees look a little like slow or shot. He wants to play off the ball. He looks like he's 10 years younger right now. So
he does.
What happened to those knee problems?
Well, I think the knee problems are still there, but it's life is a lot easier for him, for starters. There's a quote from I want to read this quote to you real fast from Sam Gordon, and we're going to play some sound here from Steve Kerr in just a minute. But Sam Gordon, Golden State Warriors beat reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle, wrote after the game, that Steve Kerr said, quote, Jimmy Butler's the one who keeps using the term meaningful basketball. And you can see we're now in the fight. We're in the mix, and this is what Steph loves. His competitiveness is probably the most underrated quality. Sam Gordon, unquote. Sam Gordon adding that the acquisition of Jimmy Butler is energizing Stephen Curry. He makes life easy for him, dude. Well, we kept saying on the show time and time and again, like, I didn't doubt that Steph's getting older, and Steph himself has said that he wants ball handling help because he's trying to ease the workload and for bringing the ball up, for being a facilitator. He'd rather play off the ball, right? But at the same time, dude, you're seeing what happens when he's not triple teamed, quadruple teamed every game, man. He had no help. Dude. And now he does. I love it, brother. I don't know what else to say, man.
Sometimes that help comes into that gravity, that attention, because you can watch the game wherever, even if he's only scoring 5 points, you see him moving around. It's like your eyes are drawn, even as a spectator, to where Jimmy is. He's in the post. They kind of like lean in two people and kind of go into that space. I really hope that Steve Kerr sticks to his plan of playing the best players, because I believe what Post has shown, I wrote in the chat, he was on an all defensive team in college, and I know that he doesn't have the highest vertical, but I compared his defense to like someone like Marc Gasol. You don't think that he's like the quickest or fastest, but that girth, that height, that body, if he's in the right positions, but also he's a way better shooter. And did you see that behind the back pass that he made, I think 2 games ago?
I did.
If he gets some time. So if you're looking for a lineup with some spacing, what are you going to do if you have Steph Curry and say post with the spacing? But what are teams going to do when you know that you have to double Jimmy in the post, and Kuminga's cutting down the lane? Because people forget, all these sports analysts, they said, it was like, oh, I don't think the Warriors can compete. Before the Kuminga got hurt, he was averaging 22 points per game, or I'm like probably close to 25 on 54% shooting. He got that 3-point shooter shot up to 34%. So he's coming back, and you have to double Kuminga. He was having a bunch of 30-point games, I think back-to-back 34-point games. So Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Kuminga, Green, post. Steve Kerr has to give me at least 5 games of that. Let's see what it looks like.
I love it. And look, you see Steve Kerr making decisions that we didn't see a lot of before Jimmy got here, right? For example, the halftime adjustment. There were a lot of episodes where I was on here just screaming my ass off because Guy Santos, for example, was red hot in the first half, and then we wouldn't see him again until the fourth quarter. And it's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, where are the adjustments? We saw an adjustment tonight. This is, look, from top to bottom. I include coaches in this, man. Things have changed with the arrival of Jimmy Butler. And a lot of it, I don't know if Steve Kerr has just kind of given up in terms of thinking that the vision that he had is what the team should do. Case in point, I don't think Jerry Stackhouse is making public comments about Andrew Wiggins that he did a week ago. That's not happening. Who gave him
permission to say that? I was like, really?
Yeah, exactly. So people are speaking more freely. Yeah. It's just Kerr's kind of just, I think he had his own moment of self-awareness a little bit. I could be wrong on this, but the Dennis Schroeder deal to me was like the last straw in terms of the front office for 2.5 years, basically saying, well, I'm going to listen to you. We're going to do it your way. You have 9 rings, 4 titles as their head coach of the team. Yeah, we'll do it your way. 2.5 years later, they kind of pushed back and they were like, look, we've been doing it your way for 2.5 years. We've underachieved. You're still a brilliant head coach, but let the personnel people do their job, please. And we've seen a shift, man, where Kerr is kind of like just all he cares about right now is winning that 5th championship, as he should, man, instead of like being the GM as well. That's what I'm seeing as well. That's what I've noticed is there's a focus, a shift in focus from I want to do things my way to I'm going to do things that lead this organization and this team to a championship this year. And I think he sees how real that is. And I don't think he's dicking around anymore, if that makes sense. So
I think we always called Kerr a superstar coach. Like, he doesn't know how to manage, I guess, role players. And so even with Chris Paul, when we got Chris Paul, everyone and their mama knew that Chris Paul should not be playing next to Steph Curry. But it's that those all-star teams, that resume that he had, Steve Kerr's like, nope, I have to play him starter minutes. So I think if you give him that cachet he's going to have to play. So you give him KD, you can't mess that up. Give him Jimmy Butler, like, oh, I have to start Jimmy Butler. You can't mess that up. So I think that he comes from Phil Jackson, where he has that ability to manage egos, but he might not be the best as far as developing talent. But one thing that Jimmy Butler does is that he puts everyone in their right position. I know people complain about pods, and I think you got to understand he's a 16th pick, second year, and making a huge impact. And one thing that tonight I saw is that pods has become the bailout guy at the end of the shot clock. So when things aren't going, they just throw it to him. And so he'll throw up a brick because, he's just like, I don't know what to do with it. Like Post did it.
I don't know if that's a consistent thing. Like, yeah. You're right. Tonight, I noticed that. We're on multiple occasions, the shot clock's running down. The Warriors are having a hard time finding a good look. And for good reason. Orlando, I believe, was entering tonight's game, was second in the NBA in defensive rating. And that's no joke, man. And you can see it. Orlando is a big team. They're a long team. Piggybacking off what you said about Quentin Post a moment ago in terms of defense, right? You made that Marcus All comp. It's size helps with defense. It's a huge reason why I've been screaming my head off for this team. And the small ball approach, it doesn't help you defensively to have 6'2" guys out there trying to defend the perimeter or anything. So when Quentin Post is, like you said, making these plays defensively, part of it is just the fact that when you're 7 feet tall, it becomes a hell of a lot easier to block shots, to grab rebounds. And I'm glad we're seeing it, man. That adjustment alone has been incredible.
You can't teach 7 feet. That's what they always say.
You can't. And I'm glad you brought up Phil Jackson, by the way, because you're right. Steve Kerr is a Phil Jackson discipline. I wish it was more Phil, less Popovich, right? Because you see him emulating both those coaches. And when he does the Popovich emulation, I'm kind of like, all right. When he does the Phil, I'm all in, man, which kind of reflects how I feel about the two.
What do you mean by the
reason why I bring up Phil real fast, Julian, the reason why you brought up Phil Jackson, and I thought it was funny, there was a moment in this game tonight in the third quarter where Stephen Curry hit his 8th three of this game, and they started back-breaking Orlando. And their head coach, Jamal Mosley, is that his name? Like, he thought he was Phil Jackson, dude. One of Phil Jackson's signature moves was not calling timeouts when your team is struggling. The Warriors did the same thing in the first quarter. They were outscored something like 9-0 to start this game before Steph hit a three-pointer. And that was Steve Kerr just letting his lineup ride, right? Sometimes Phil Jackson loved to do that. Just let your team play through the struggles, and they're going to grow as individuals through that process. But there are limits to that. You have to have the right personnel to have an approach like that. Orlando does not have the right personnel for that. It was just funny because Jamal Mosley literally was like, I'm just going to let my team roll out there and stay out there. Literally next possession, Stephen Curry hit his 9th three, blew this thing open. Jamal Mosley, you are not Phil, or rather your team is not at the level that Phil Jackson's was. So you have to pick the right moments to think you're Phil Jackson, and Jamal Mosley picked a very poor moment to do that. Final thoughts, Julian, because I got other people waiting.
Final thoughts is I hope that we finish out this road trip undefeated. So I think we only have the Knicks as like a above 500 challenge. So let's get back to Chase Center undefeated with I don't know what that would make us, 11-1 with Jimmy or something like
Jimmy?
that. But yeah. Yeah, I'm bad at math. I don't feel like
that's right. It's all right. It's well. The winning is when it gets to this level, you start losing track of things. I think the Warriors have won 8 of 9 since Jimmy Butler got here. I also want to bring up the fact that the Warriors remain undefeated with Moses Moody in the starting lineup. They're now 11-0. That's going to be a tough decision when Kuminga gets back. What's going to happen? It is. We'll see.
I know Kerr loves pods at the 2, but maybe Moody should start at the 2.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. Agreed. Julian, have a great night, brother. Always good to see you, man. You and we're going to get to the chat and resume in just a moment. I want to play some sound real fast. Shardal is going to join us next, and I know he's pumped up. But first, let's play some sound from Orlando if it's available. I'm going to play it. And we have a couple clips here. First up is Draymond Green, who says that Stephen Curry likes to play in Orlando. And I know this wasn't the first time Steph lit it up. Megan, if you don't mind looking up real fast for me what Steph's numbers were last year. They only played in Orlando once, so it shouldn't be too difficult to track that down because I know he likes to play in Orlando. Draymond Green reiterating that point. Here is Draymond talking about, and I don't know what the source of this is. I don't know if the NBA published this, because I know tonight's game was also on NBA TV, in addition to the local regional networks. But here's Draymond talking about Stephen Curry and how much he loves to play in Orlando. Here's Dre.
He likes playing here. So that was a good one. I don't know, but it's funny because we were sitting around the other day. He started naming like 5 arenas. And he like, that's a great arena. Like, it's always great when we play there. And this was one of them. So it was good to see him put on that performance because we needed it.
Hell yeah, they needed it. I mean, without that performance, the Warriors are losing, plain and simple. One more soundbite, because that one was short and sweet. But I want to get some sound regarding the game itself. Sam Gordon of the San Francisco Chronicle posted this. Folks, get your the volume on your device up for this one, because Sam posted this courtesy of his cell phone. Here's Steve Kerr after the game talking about the Warriors winning, their 8th of 9. Let's hear it from Steve Kerr. I don't know why I have this accent, but let's hear it from Steve.
He was due for one of those. That's what I love about Steph, and one of many things I love about Steph. He always shoots the half-court shots. He doesn't care about his percentage, and he's had so many the last couple of years that were right there. And as soon as he let it go, I said, "That's him." I just felt it, and I thought that set a good tone for the second half. Gave us a little bit of a lift. Everybody was excited, and then obviously our defense was dramatically better second half.
All right, so Steve Kerr's giddy. He's happy. Dude likes to show his emotions oftentimes. Again, that's where I wish he was more Phil. Phil was very stoic, and you never knew really what he was thinking, and I respect that as a head coach. Let's go to Shardall. Welcome. How are you doing? How are you feeling about the Warriors?
Yo, Cy!
What's up, brother?
Yo, Cy, Steph Curry dropped 56 points today, bro! Dude, this guy was phenomenal, bro!
Hey now.
Yo, man, Steph Curry was crazy, bro. Did you see Steph Curry drop 56?
No, it didn't. He
yeah, it was crazy, bro. I fell off my chair. I fell off. I said
real fast.
Sure,
no, real fast. I asked our
words or something like that.
To let me know how Steph did last year in Orlando. 17 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 of 8 from deep last year in Orlando. Not a huge.
No, that was not. I didn't like that. I like this one better.
Easily.
Yeah, this was.
Floor is yours.
Yo, what's up? Warriors won 120 to 115. We blew the Magic out. I did a solo post-game solo stream by myself and a post-game show by myself.
Good. How'd that go?
It went fire. Dude, that was the best, man. You should watch it. You should watch that.
All right. Well, how
fall off your chair?
Tell people how can they follow your channel, man? Like be specific so people can find your channel easily.
My YouTube channel is SGA Sports Talk channel. Click the like and subscribe for my channel. Show me love.
SGA Sports Talk. I want to play a clip while you're here, Shardall. This is courtesy of the Golden State Warriors social media, and this happened right after the game. I thought this would be good for the YouTube audience. And if you're listening on the podcast, I'll describe it in just a moment. This is not an audio-based clip,
but it's fine.
Courtesy of the Golden State Warriors. Here's Steph Curry after the game. All right, I thought that was wholesome. That was for those listening. Stephen Curry threw his game jersey at his mom, who was in the stands tonight. Continue on, Shardall. I'm sorry.
Hey, Sai, what were your thoughts on the win tonight?
It was all right.
Was it fire?
Yeah, it was fire. It was.
Stephen Curry. Hey, let me. I'll speak a little Spanish. I know a little Spanish.
Speak Spanish, please.
Stephen Curry es muy caliente, baby. Steph Curry was muy caliente, baby, with 56 points.
Stephen Curry, mucho bueno.
Mucho caliente.
Yes, he was, man. 56 points. Fourth. Shardall, what are your thoughts on Stephen Curry hitting his 4th highest scoring total of his career at the age of 36?
I love it, man. It's good for his age, man. Like at his age, doing this on his prime at his age is like amazing. Like it's nothing I ever imagined.
Same. I wholeheartedly agree with you. It's incredible. So the Warriors on this trip, it's 5-game road trip. They started off incredibly successful, defeating Orlando again, 121-115. They play Philly next Saturday on national TV. This is going to be on ABC, so the whole world has a chance to see the Warriors put the stomp on Philly. What do you predict?
I want the Warriors to blow Philly out of the water.
Me too. Are you worried
Um,
about?
you-
But are you worried about Kelly Oubre? He scares me.
I'm not worried because he played for our team.
Right, but that's why I'm worried. He knows the system. He has a grudge against Steve Kerr. What do you? I'm a little worried about Kelly Oubre, man.
I'm afraid that Kelly Oubre is going to have a good game because I'm afraid of him, but he played on my team, so he was a warrior. He'll be a warrior for
Right.
life.
He was, and I'm being facetious. I'm not really worried about Kelly Oubre.
Hey,
The Warriors.
Sai,
Yeah.
is this the way you like to hear me? Remember you said you like to hear Shardol like, "Oh, let's go. Not the sad Shardol, but like the pumped up Shardol. Woo, let's go, baby. Let's go.
I think I speak on everyone's behalf in saying we like happy Chardol and not sad Chardol.
Let's
Although
go.
we also
Let's
learned
get another win.
we learned after the fact you weren't sad, you were just being quiet because you were on
Let's
a vacation.
go.
All right, Chardol, I want to get to Naveen who's waiting. Any final
Hey,
thoughts?
see you
brother?
later, Sai. I'm gonna be back on the show. It's gonna be
expect it.
on. Let's get another Warriors win. Let's beat the Sixers.
I expected, brother. Thank
Let's
you, Chardol. Go check out
go.
SGA Sports Talk channel. Subscribe to
Woo!
Chardol's channel. That I think
Let's
he
go,
represents-
baby. Let's
Yeah,
you.
you're rep-
That's me now. The pumped up Shardol, man.
You're-
In the
you're
house,
repping-
baby.
You're repping. You're
I love
repping
you,
good-
Sai. I love your humor, baby. Bring it.
I love you. I love
I
you,
love
brother.
your shit. Bring it.
That's the perfect way to end it. Let's go to Naveen. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing, man?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Go for it. Floor is yours, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, overall the vibe is good. Like everything is going good. Like I don't know for some. Yeah, as you were mentioning earlier, after Jimmy trade, like everyone was locked in. Draymond is locked in. Steph locked in. Steve Kerr, he's pressing all the right buttons at the right times. Okay. Moody and Pods was good like till until last game. I mean, this game they were good, but shots were not falling. QP again, man. He was already. I mean, even till previous games, we were feeling good about him. This game, he battled with those bigs because everyone has huge size there, and then he stood before them. He did move his feet, and I mean he was doing good defensively. I mean,
I want to show this graphic real fast, Naveen.
Mhm.
They showed this during the game, and it's an incredible stat. Stephen Curry, again, he scored 56 points tonight. This was his first 40-point game of the season. And
Yep.
Stephen Curry is second on the all-time list in terms of most 40-point games after the age of 30.
30.
Michael Jordan is atop that list with 44. And there's Stephen Curry, number 2, 39. Tonight was the 39th game since he turned 30 years old of putting up 40 or more points. Damian Lillard third with 31. Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, and James Harden rounding out that list. But what are your thoughts when you see Stephen Curry on these graphics where the only other person really in his level is Michael Jordan?
Yeah, I
Insane.
mean, yeah, it's really insane. Even like when we were seeing earlier, like now, like I think from 3, 4 games, I think he's having efficient stats. But before that, like right before Jimmy trade, I think he was shooting like 30 shots. Like he shot his way out of that called maybe mini slump or inefficient games. And then after that, he just had belief. I mean, apart from to be honest, maybe Wicks was scoring little bit higher numbers. I'm not saying about the other part of the game, like maybe assists or rebounds or raising the other teammates. That part, Jimmy is like super good. But maybe I mean, it just looks like he just has that belief again, and then he's looking good. And obviously, he's taking some of the like guards. I mean, double, triple teams. I think now Steph is seeing little less comparatively. He's taking that middleman, and then he's giving some assists. Jimmy, like credit to him. But I would love to see him little aggressive side. What do you say? Little aggressive. I want him to
Repeat the
put up
question.
at
I'm
least.
very sorry. Say again.
I want Jimmy to put at least 10 to 12 shots a game. What do you say?
30.
10
I'm
to
so
12
sorry.
shots a game. He's not taking some shots. I
Oh,
want him
field
to.
goal attempts. Okay, so
Yes,
tonight he had 7 field goal attempts. How many do you want him taking a game?
10 to 12
10. Yeah, that makes
at
sense.
least.
Well, look again. I'm something tells me that he got hurt tonight. There was a play early on, and we talked about this. Jimmy started the game as the team's starting power forward. Draymond Green, the starting center, on a night where the opposition was Wendell Carter, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner again as your 3. So it was an imposing front line that Jimmy had to deal with, and he got hit early in the game in like the neck head area. And I've been trying to see if there's any reports on that, but I think tonight that affected him. That he had some, like, you could see him wincing and making all these gestures. I agree with you. If Jimmy Butler is healthy, I definitely want him taking more than 7 field goal attempts in a game. Something tells me tonight he was affected by something. I don't know what it was. By the way, side note, I want to share this stat with you as well. There's some more great stats pertaining to Stephen Curry coming down the wire with graphics. Stephen Curry is in a very select group in terms of players who have 12 or more 3-pointers in a single game. And again, tonight represented the 3rd time in his career that he's hit 12 or more threes. He had 12. Klay Thompson is tied with Steph in terms of the number of games where he's made 12 or more threes in a game. Both Steph and Klay have done that 3 times. Klay is the record holder for most in a game all time with 14. Dame Lillard has hit 12 once. Zach LaVine, Kobe Bryant, Danielle Marshall, the former Golden State Warrior, and Keegan Murray have all done it once. In terms of 12 or more made threes in a game, Steph and Klay have done it 3 times. Insane. And what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, obviously, like you expect him to be on this list, obviously, and then graphic before this was like scoring 9+ 3-pointers a game. I think Steph has like 45 of them, and the second, rest of all of them combined, like I think 6 or 7 people combined, not even equate to that 30 or 35.
Well, here's another stat for you. I got more for you. Here's another one.
Yeah.
This is a new graphic. Most games after the age of 30 where you've scored 50 or more. I showed the stat again for 40 or more, where Michael Jordan has done that 44 times. Steph is at 39. When he's scoring 50 or more after the age of 30. Tonight represented the 9th time in NBA history and in Stephen Curry's career that he's done it. So since the age of 30, since he turned 30 years old, Stephen Curry has scored 50 or more points in a game 9 times. Wilt Chamberlain is second on that list. He did it 7 times. Dame Lillard and Michael Jordan are tied for 3rd on that list. They did it 6 times, and James Harden has done it 5 times. So Stephen Curry, this is insane. This is insane. In the annals of NBA history, no player has scored 50 or more points in a game after the age of 30 more often than Stephen Curry. Tonight represented.
And also, maybe they should be giving that field goal percentage, efficient field goal percentage also side. I'm sure like he would be topping it.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Naveen, any final thoughts, brother, as we wrap it up?
I just want to, obviously Steph is Steph. Like we expect greatness from him, and he puts on a show every day. Have you seen that little golf flick today? Celebration?
Say again, I'm sorry?
Have you seen that golf celebration?
Which golf celebration? You mean Stephen Curry when he hit the hole-in-one? Which one are you talking about?
No, like that 3 after he hit the 3, he saw some golf celebrities and he made that.
I missed that. No, I missed that tonight. That was another one. I'm sure I'll see it. I'm gonna watch the highlights like a million times.
Sure. I just want to tip my hat to QP, man. He came in through the ride with Steph, and we sailed through.
Exactly. And at some point, we're gonna see Jonathan Kuminga come back. And tonight was a night where they could have used him early, but like you said, man, Quinn Post had a phenomenal game. It's almost saved the day, besides Stephen Curry's heroics, obviously. Quinn Post, one more time, I mentioned this before, 18 points, shot 50% from deep, plus 22 net rating, led the team. It was just
team high.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And Mitchell and Ness in the chat adding that Michael Jordan had 31 50-point games in his career. How many does Steph have now? I don't have that stat. So Julian and Mitchell and Ness, follow that up, please. So Michael Jordan in his career had 31 games where he scored 50 or more. What is Steph at? I want to know what Steph is at. Naveen, have yourself a great night, brother. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, brother. You too, brother. I'm very curious to know where Steph ranks in that category, but what a night for Wardell, man. This was all about him. Here's Steve Kerr, some more sound, and this one's actually going to be high quality because it's courtesy of the NBA itself, and Steve Kerr marveling at his superstar player, Stephen Curry. Let's hear from the head coach of the Golden State Warriors.
You've experienced a lot of like Steph nights, kind of like tonight. Was this high up there?
Yeah, I mean, Raymond just said it was his 26th game with 10 or more threes. Yeah. So we're spoiled around here. We're used to it, but it never gets old watching. I can tell you that. I think the fans here tonight, even the Magic fans, they know they're witnessing greatest shooter ever and one of the greatest performers ever. It's not just the shots going in; it's just the fluidity, the beauty of his movement and motion and his audacity, the shots that he's willing to take. He's an incredible performer, and he put on quite a show tonight.
Do not forget the 70-footer. That's going to get lost in all this. And that was a big shot. When we talk about buzzer beaters at the half, that stem momentum. Like if you remember the Jordan Poole shot, I think he was in the Celtics series in the NBA Finals back in 2022, where he made, it wasn't as deep as this one, but it was around half court and Jordan Poole heaved it up. And I think it was a bank shot that went in. Sometimes those shots are massively important because of this thing that is very real called momentum. And Orlando had that going into the half. They were going to lead by 17 points. Stephen Curry hits that 70-footer that I read earlier. The NBA had measured it at 49, which is a total bullshit stat. It was closer to 70 feet. He was right around the top of the key on the other side of the court. And that was huge. And as Steve White in the chat mentioning, you're absolutely right. A 17-point Orlando lead went down to 14. And even though, again, it was just one bucket, even though 14 is still a daunting lead to overcome, that was a backbreaker, man, because Orlando was walking into that tunnel thinking, we've got this game. We've got them on the ropes. Then they turn around and like, holy shit. Did Stephen Curry just hit a 70-footer that just put a nice little chink into the armor that was our lead? And that swagger that they had going to the tunnel, gone. Momentum is a killer, man. It's important, and that was a momentum killer for Stephen Curry. So that was huge. Sorry, I'm laughing at a private message. So anyways, I'm trying to see if there's anything else we want to talk about. We've been doing this for a little over an hour. We're feeling good about Golden State. We're feeling good about the Warriors in general. This is their schedule coming up. Again, this is a game one of a 5-game road trip. When you hear the rest of the opponents that they have to face, don't be surprised if they come away from this trip 4-1. It's very hard to be undefeated on a 5-game road trip. They might be undefeated. The spread will have them favored, I'm guessing, in all of these games. But this is the upcoming schedule for the Golden State Warriors, who just beat Orlando tonight. Again, final score 121-115. They didn't change the score on me. Yes, it's still 121-115. They play Philly on Saturday. That game's going to be nationally televised. We're, of course, going to be live right after this game like we always are. And then next week, they play Monday at Charlotte. And that's Stefan's homecoming game. Oddly enough, Steph routinely struggles when he's in Charlotte, but he's got a lot of help tonight. So that's going to be a good thing for Mr. Curry. Then the very next game, they're in New York to play the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. That will probably be the quote-unquote toughest challenge of the Warriors. And their backup center who's missed all season, Mitchell Robinson, might be available for that game. But then again, so might Jonathan Kuminga. And then the Warriors finish up the road trip a week from today in Brooklyn. before they come home. So this could be a marvelous road trip. Again, I'm checking to see if there's any news about Jimmy Butler, who I thought got hurt. And I thought that attributed to the low field goal attempts, the low scoring output. Again, Jimmy had just 7 points tonight. He only made 1 field goal on 7 attempts. We shall see. Some other interesting stats. This one courtesy of Stat Muse. Stephen Curry in the 2010s had 11 games with 40 or more points and 10 or more three-pointers. He has matched that number in the 2020s. So Stephen Curry has scored 40 or more points on 10 or more threes 22 times. The next closest player to have hit that mark did it 7 times. That's Steph for you. Stephen Curry is your leader for most games played with 10 or more threes made in a game. This is a crazy stat real fast. And here, I'll even, this is courtesy of Stat Muse. I'll even share the screen here. So you get a, for those watching on YouTube, you kind of get a better understanding of the significance of this stat. Klay Thompson has hit 10 or more threes in a game 9 times. Next highest, 26 by Wardell Stephen Curry. Oh, there's a lot of stats here, man. Steph is just absolutely insane. Here's we already covered the 50-point games after shooting 30. Stephen Curry is the all-time leader in that category. I think that's it for crazy Steph stats. Trying to see if there's anything else that I missed in terms of sound. Sam Gordon of the San Francisco Chronicle tweeting out that Draymond after the game said, quote, "I've been lucky to play with a guy for 13 years and see those types of performances. I'm honored and lucky to share the court with him, to be his teammate, and just watch that type of dominance." Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, Richard Marquez, Golden Dazer. I'm glad you brought this up. I almost forgot. So another thing we saw, and again, this was the difference between the old Steve Kerr and the new Steve Kerr. And the old Steve Kerr is pre-Jimmy Butler, dating back to the start of the 2022 season. New Steve Kerr, post-Jimmy Butler. And again, the halftime adjustment we saw with Quinn Post. Bravo, Steve Kerr. They have to do it, and he did it. And it was a huge difference maker. We also saw in this game, and I think this was in the second quarter. Let me see in my game log if I have that. But I believe it was the second quarter of this game that Kevin Knox was brought in. And again, the expectation for Kevin Knox was that we were going to see him maybe in garbage time. You know, he's on a 10-day contract. And then all of a sudden we see Kevin Knox playing meaningful minutes. And I'm really curious to see, I don't think I wrote it in my notes. Oh, it was. Okay, second quarter. I did write in my notes. So Kevin Knox is suddenly playing second quarter minutes. And in that second quarter, it wasn't anything special, unfortunately. I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for him. I really wanted Kevin Knox to deliver because I'd rather have guys 6'8" getting minutes and giving Stephen Curry an even easier time out there. And it wasn't awful. I will say this about Kevin Knox's 4 minutes and 44 seconds that he played in that second quarter. Let me pull that up here. Okay. So in those 4 minutes and 44 seconds, he had 3 field goal attempts. 2 of those were 3-point attempts, and he missed both of those. He did make a bucket otherwise. Finished the quarter and the game, if I have my stats correct, with 2 points and 1 rebound. Again, nothing to write home about. Nothing to take away with, with praise and with celebration. But I will commend Kerr for bringing him in early because, again, old Steve Kerr, it would shock me to see Kevin Knox playing second quarter minutes. New Steve Kerr is trying Kevin Knox in the second quarter and trying him early. And again, nothing, like Knox did not blow anybody away. It wasn't a performance that, left you thinking, I want more. But it also was a performance that did not make you think this guy sucks. It was just kind of like a tweener performance. It was, didn't blow your socks off, but didn't make you cringe either. I think that is the summary of the Kevin Knox experience tonight. I'm curious to know if anyone else has different thoughts about that. But yeah, we saw him play. We might see him play again at some points. Steve White adding that, to be fair, that Knox got cooked and then looked great. Greg Gordon bringing up that his one bucket was that dunk, and that was fire. And again, I'm not criticizing him. I'm not sitting here saying it was a bad performance. I'm also not sitting here saying it blew me away, right? So we shall see. It was one possession or one brief moment of this game. He played again a total of 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Let's see him again. Let's, it was just, that was it. It was just, and then Mitchell and Ness saying, he didn't look that good to me. Matt Brotherton saying that's the summary of his career overall. But again, I'm not judging him. It just was one of those things where, it was, all right. I would not mind seeing them try again with him, though. I don't want to judge him and judge the rest of his tenure off that one brief performance. So I am happy that Gary Garcia Alcaquiz, I probably butchered that and I apologize, writing that Ty Jerome is looking like a second team backup guard in Cleveland. And the reason why I'm highlighting that is because Ty Jerome today came out and slandered the Golden State Warriors. Ty Jerome was asked what the difference was between his development with the Cleveland Cavaliers and with the Golden State Warriors. And Ty Jerome answered that question, quote, "They just didn't give me the freedom back in Golden State. That's all," unquote. Ty Jerome was stealing minutes from Moses Moody. He was stealing minutes from Jonathan Kuminga. He, as a two-way player, because Bob Myers was smart enough to not give him an actual contract, but he still played in almost all 50 games he's eligible for as a two-way player. He was a nightmare defensively. And if Ty Jerome was any good back in 2022, where he should have gotten freedom to play, complete asinine comment, man. He was a minus 92 in net rating. Let me repeat that one more time. Ty Jerome in that one season with the Warriors was a minus 92 in net rating. They did not play winning basketball with him. Ty Jerome with the Cleveland Cavaliers last year, look those stats up if you're suddenly so high on him. Because what you're going to see is nothing. He played, I think, like 3 games and missed all the rest with, I don't even know what the injury was. It was like an ankle. It was some ridiculously minor thing that took him out for a whole season. And now he's on the super stacked team. He's having a good year statistically. I don't doubt that. Still would not want him on my team. And Matt Brotherton, I feel you on this one, saying, quote, "I've never hated a Warriors team so much as when Ty Jerome and that other dude, Anthony Lamb, played." I agree. That was awful. That was awful. But there is, I guess, the good news, as Steve White writes, is, myself and the audience, a lot of us bonded over that year. Misery loves company, right? God, that was awful. But it's in the past. Megan, our intern, today was her first day. Once she gets comfortable, I'll leave it up to her if she ever wants to make on-camera appearances. But she just wrote to me behind the scenes. She's moderating the chat tonight. great job of that. She's not happy with a lot of you, and I'm going to explain to her how we only censor comments if it's like an offensive, hate-filled attack that's on a, that's not on a sports level. I'm never going to censor people for sports takes, but Megan in the chat behind the scenes writes that on the Golden State Warriors Instagram account, February 27th is known as Stephen Curry Day. On February 27th in 2017, Steph had 54 points and made 11 three-pointers. This was the game at the New York Knicks. Legendary game. I'm never forgetting that. In 2016 at OKC, on February 27th, Stephen Curry scored 46 points and made 12 threes. And then today in Orlando. And Megan is correcting me and saying that the Knicks game was not 2017. That was 2013. That makes a lot more sense. Thank you for the correction. So one more time, February 27th, the Warriors are anointing as Stephen Curry Day because in 2013, February 27th was the day he dropped 54. Back then, that was a career high at New York. That was in the Garden. And then in 2016, he scored 46 on 12 made threes at OKC, which means, if I have my numbers correct, this is the second February 27th game where Stephen Curry has hit 12 three-pointers. That's absurd. And it makes sense why February 27th is now officially Stephen Curry Day. Good stuff. Yeah, and Tara Doe saying that the chef's kiss, that's what they call that, is about to cook New York again. Yeah, Poison Clan 1707 writing that Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb had too much freedom with Kerr. Dude, that I cannot believe. Look, I'll even show the screen capture of this, just in case you don't believe me that he actually said that. This is courtesy of Basketball Within Borders. Here, I'll share this. I'll share the screen just for the YouTube audience so you can see the lunacy of this attribution, where Ty Jerome literally said about his experience playing for the Warriors, they just didn't give me the freedom. You out of your mind? What freedom were you looking for? To shoot more? To play more? What do you mean by that? That's absurd, man. Minus 92 net rating. And he didn't have enough freedom. Come on, man. You can't even make that stuff up. That is insane. All right, let's look at the standings, and then we'll call it a wrap on this beautiful Thursday night, which is now known on February 27th as Stephen Curry Day. Let's get some tunes. And let's see what's going on in the NBA. Especially after the Warriors win yet another game. They're now 5 games above 500. They're 32-27 on the year. Let's see what else happened in the association on this Thursday night. The Dallas Mavericks, unfortunately, coming away with the win, 103-96. I say unfortunately because they are close to the Warriors in the standings. Dallas improves to 32-28. The Hornets dropped to 14-44. The game was played in Dallas. Kyrie Irving, 25 points, 9 rebounds in the win. Mark Williams, 26 points, 16 rebounds in the loss for Charlotte. Side note, that trade falling apart for the Lakers, that was such a blessing in disguise for Golden State. Mark Williams on LA was concerning me. When that trade fell apart, all I could think of was, wow, one of the biggest impediments to the Warriors beating the Lakers is not going there anymore. Yes. He's a good player. He's going to be a good player. I'm very curious to know what the quote-unquote health issue was that the Lakers found with Mark to have that trade rescinded. The Milwaukee Bucks defeated the Denver Nuggets tonight, 121-112. I always love the Giannis Jokic matchup. Giannis winning that one this evening, 28 points, 19 rebounds, 7 assists for Giannis Antetokounmpo in the win, which improves the Bucks to 33-25. Denver drops to 38-21. Nikola Jokic, 32 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists in the loss. Just check the chat. Ooh, June Adolfo. Nice little tease saying the Warriors are now 7th in the West standings. I will confirm that in just a moment. Elsewhere in the association. Oh, that's it for finals. Oh, this is a late night tonight. That's how Thursdays typically go. 2 games going on right now that if and when you watch the recording of this, they'll likely be finals, but they're not finals right now. The Pelicans, this one will be a final because there's only 18.7 seconds left. The New Orleans Pelicans are about to beat the faltering, the flailing, the what's turning into a disastrous situation that's known as the Phoenix Suns. 122-114 is the score right now. I apologize. It's now 122-115. Again, with 18.7 seconds left to play. Zion Williamson in that game, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, a triple-double for Zion. Devin Booker, 35.7 rebounds, 9 assists, and counting in a game that it's now 122-116. Devin Booker just made 2 free throws. So New Orleans has the ball with 18.7 seconds. Now, granted, New Orleans is not exactly a team I would trust to hold on to a lead, but the Pelicans are also an absolute shit show. So, and just like that, New Orleans now leads 124-116 with 7.8 seconds. So the Suns are going to drop to 27 and 32. Oof. And the Pelicans are going to improve to 16 and 43. And yes, that is now a final. And the last game, and again, we're not going to know the result of this right now. The Lakers are leading the Minnesota Timberwolves. That game is in LA at Crypto, 33-17. The score, Luka Doncic with 11 first quarter points. Anthony Edwards with 4 first quarter points for Milwaukee. And that's going to lead to the standings. And I will happily share my screen for that one. Get it set up here. All right. And let's see what's going on in the West. As June Adolfo just teased us by saying that the Warriors are now 7th. Let's see if he's telling us the truth. Taking a look at the Western Conference standings, the Golden State Warriors are in fact now 7th. Let's take a step back here for a second and start with the Phoenix Suns. The standings you're looking at on your screen say 27 and 31. They are now 27 and 32 after losing to the New Orleans Pelicans just a moment ago. So Phoenix is quickly just fading into irrelevancy. They're going to trade Kevin Durant this summer. That's a discussion for a whole other day. So the top 10 right now in the West, Sacramento is your 10 seed at 30 and 28. The Dallas Mavericks are your 9 seed at 32 and 28. So Dallas has a full 1-game lead on Sacramento. The Minnesota Timberwolves are currently tied with the Golden State Warriors with 32 and 27. With a 32 and 27 record, Minnesota playing the Lakers right now. And if that holds up, it's only in the first quarter. So to be determined. But if that does hold up, Minnesota will fall a half game behind the Golden State Warriors. And Golden State will hold 7 by themselves. They own the tiebreaker over Minnesota based on head-to-head matchups. So that's good. The Warriors are behind the LA Clippers. This is awesome. Half game separates the Warriors and the Clippers for the 6th seed. Golden State currently 32 and 27. The LA Clippers currently 32 and 26. The LA Lakers are 5th. They hold a 4.5 game lead over the Warriors. That'll turn into 5 if they win. It'll go up to 4 if they lose. They're playing Minnesota right now. The Houston Rockets are your 4 seed at 37 and 22. They lead Golden State by 5 games. The Denver Nuggets lead the Warriors by 6 games at 38 and 21. Memphis leads the Warriors by 6.5 for the 2 seed. All within play, all realistic. It was just 3 days ago, approximately, when people were saying, that 6th seed is so far away. I hope they can get 6, bro. Dude, I hope they can get 2nd. They could fight for 2 the way this is going. And Byron Knox bringing up a great point. Byron in the chat, Golden Dazer, thank you for the support, saying that the Clippers play the Lakers tomorrow, and I think that's the first of 2 games between those 2 teams. So a lot could shake down between now and then. Mitchell and S saying 4th or 3rd would be cool. Hell yeah. So would 2nd. ATGYY saying that you think the Warriors can get to 5th. Absolutely. Absolutely. Julian Bashir saying if the Warriors get the 2 seed, he's getting a tattoo of Steve Kerr. I'm going to hold you to that, Julian. I am going to hold you to that. So we shall see. All right. That's it for the show. If you call yourself a member of Dub Nation, ladies and gentlemen, these are good times. These are the best of times. They're only going to get better when the postseason starts. And they're only going to get better than that if and when they're hoist that 5th Lombardi's a Super Bowl. Larry O'Brien. Their 5th Larry O'Brien trophy. And I agree with not a gain 90. Wait until Kuminga comes back. These are good times, friends. We're just starting. 23 games remain in the season. Golden State Warriors, after tonight's win, 121-115 the final, they improve to 32-27. These are good times. Simon 2 in the chat quickly saying that he or she, I don't know your gender, I apologize, I'm guessing he with the name Simon, saying that you will get a Steve Kerr tattoo if the Warriors get to the 1 seed. Yeah, that's not bad. Now you're talking crazy, friend. Now you're talking like a lunatic. Hoku in the chat saying that the only teams that you see the Warriors having trouble with are the Denver Nuggets. I agree. That team scares me. And the Lakers, who does scare me, but the fear has dipped. I think the Warriors can beat the Lakers. The Nuggets scare me a little bit. I need to see it. I need to see it before I believe it. And Warriors Nuggets, that's going to be on St. Patty's Day, March 17th. Megan Lee making her debut tonight as an intern on this program. Job well done. Thank you to the audience as always. We don't exist without you. I'm not just saying that. I mean it. We literally do not. I'm doing something else if you're not here supporting us. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Genuinely mean that. And we might be back tomorrow at the bare minimum. Check us out Saturday night, immediately following the Warriors and the Sixers. That should be a fun one, folks. Julian Bashir is saying that you're not going to hold me to my tattoo claim. Hold me to it. I will do that. That's how committed I am. If the Warriors win a 5th championship, goal achieved. And it's not the Warriors winning the 5th. It's which may sound weird coming from me because I'm not one of these folks who's a fan of like individual players. Like I'm a team guy. Like basketball is a team sport. So I love my team, the Golden State Warriors. I grew up on them. The Bay Area is my region. I'm born and raised here. I've lived all over, but I left and came back, and I'm calling this place home. My family's here, friends are here, the ones that are still here, who didn't get priced out. And look, man, while the Warriors are my team, I for a second will not pretend that Stephen Curry's greatness is once in multiple generations what we're witnessing. Like Stephen Curry, if Michael Jordan is the mountaintop, Stephen Curry is like the one step below the peak. And he's that phenomenal. He's that tremendous. I thought Andre Iguodala nailed it astutely in his jersey retirement speech in terms of just how special of a human being he is. The fact that Steph himself doesn't realize it just makes him more special. The dude is humble. He clearly lives in the present, which is, I think, the goal for everyone if you want to have a healthy mindset. he's just a good dude, and he's fun to watch, and he's a Golden State Warrior. And yeah, I selfishly want Steph to get number 5 so that if I'm still alive at 90 or 100 and I can brag to people about Steph and Curry, then that's going to make me happy. I'm that petty, I guess. I don't care. I value Stephen Curry too much. I want a 5th championship for him. If it means getting a Steve Kerr tattoo, I'll get a Steve Kerr tattoo. Plus, I'm going to get it. I'm not going to have just like a blatant Steve Kerr tattoo on my face. It'll probably be like Steve Kerr somewhere hidden in a tattoo on my arm. Like his face might be in the middle of something. But Steve Kerr, his face will be on my body. Or his name. I didn't really specify what exactly, but it will be obvious, and I'll happily do it, man. I will. Happily. Yeah, maybe Nathan Shaw saying get a Steph tattoo. Maybe I'll get a tattoo with Steph on it as well. Maybe it'll be Steph and Kerr and then my dog. I don't know, but it's going to happen. Hold me to it, please. That's how committed I am to this. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Tomorrow's Friday. Enjoy your Friday. We'll be back soon. Megan, great job. Thank you. And otherwise, that's it. Go Dubs. Stephen Curry, 56 points. Bravo, sir. We'll see you at the latest Saturday night. Bye-bye.